Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Sharida. Welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for supporting my channel. All right, today's video is going to get into finding a consultant, okay? A Sisterlocks consultant is the most important part about starting your process. It can be very daunting, very confusing, and sometimes you just don't know what to look for. And this episode is going to be a red flags edition, okay? So this is going to get into some things you should just kind of look out for and be aware of in making your decision. And also it's going to give you a couple things that many people consider red flags, but they may not necessarily be. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in hearing more about, then just keep watching. All right, let's get into this. First of all, let me preface this by saying that this is such an individualized journey. There is no rule book. There is a rule book on Sisterlocks. However, what about hair is going to fit every single person, okay, in the exact same manner? Nothing. So this is just going to give you things to think about. This is so individualized. Certain things that this person wants to have in their consultant may really differ from the next person. So these are just some tips that I consider to be important. May not be considered, something important to you, but what you want to do is just always weigh all the pros and cons when determining if this person is going to be a good match for you. Now, the first thing you need to do is to decide what is important to you. Is it really important for your consultant to be a strict by the rule book brand loyalist of Sisterlocks? And that is very high up on the hierarchy of what they feel is important in finding a Sisterlocks consultant. If they give you the kit, if they do test locks, if they are very stringent and strict on following the rules, that is important to some people. Other people are just the opposite. Having someone like that can cause anxiety. Okay, so it's very individualized and you're just going to have to take everything with a grain of salt, but just consider everything, okay? Now, first thing you want to do is make sure that whoever you're considering has a body of work that you can view. If they don't have a visual portfolio of their work, whether it be a website, an Instagram, something for you to look through, that's a red flag. And it should be multiple clients. It shouldn't be 5 pictures of one person, okay? And pay attention, because sometimes people pull pictures from online. Think, if that picture looks familiar to you, do a little bit more digging, do a little bit more research. Well, can I have this person's Instagram handle? Maybe I can just reach out to them, see how they work as far as a reference. They should be able to give you names of references, okay? You should be able to go and speak with that person, or just send them a quick DM, say, hey, how was your experience with this person? If they are hell-bent against that, that is a red flag. If they do not have a body of work that you can view, that is a red flag. Okay, now another red flag is if their pricing is unreasonably low. Anyone that has these knows the work, the skill, the hours it takes to install these locks. Why would anyone charge $300 for something that takes 3 full 10-hour days to install? Why would they do that? Now, bear in mind that if you are going with a trainee, their fee is going to be substantially less because they're not at the skill level of a certified consultant. That is understandable. But let me say that this process should not be solely about the price. This should not be bargain hunting. That is not what you want to do when it comes to a major investment like this, as far as your time, your actual hair, and your money. Okay, so Yes, you want to be with someone that's reasonably priced, but if they are fishy, like suspicious pricing, that's a red flag. Either A, you're going to end up walking out of there with something like a larger micro lock that are just not sister locks, or B, they're going to mess you up. Okay. I'm not saying that that's always the case, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to get what you pay for. Now, me personally, I had a wonderful price on my Sisterlocks install, considering the length that I started with and just, you know, the density of my hair. I have fine hair. It's not super dense, but it is long. I was expecting to pay twice as much. With that being said, what I did pay was still, it was a pretty penny. It was over $1,200, okay? Now, had she quoted me $450, that just would have been a red flag, people. That doesn't make sense. It took her 40 hours to do these. She's been doing locks for over 10 years now, I think. So it would make sense that someone who is saying they have XYZ experience, who's done a certain amount of installs, it would make sense that they are charging what is the norm for Sisterlocks. So that's just something to keep an eye out for, okay? Sometimes you get what you pay for. Okay, the third red flag to look for is if they instantly just tell you that they are able to lock everyone's hair within 2 days. Okay, if it's taken 2 days for you to lock this sister's hair over here, that is, oh, I don't know, about 7 inches, okay? You should not be able to lock my hair in the same amount of time. It's just, where's the math? It's not adding up. There are people that will tell you, I lock everyone's hair within 2 days. Okay, how can you make a statement like that? If they're quoting you a price for your install, hair unseen, that is a red flag. You should have a consultation with this person, or a very in-depth, I don't know, FaceTime. Like, there has to be a real interaction, and they really have to get an idea of what your hair is like before they can actually quote you a price. If they quote you a blanket price for install, that is a red flag. Okay, yes, they're going to have a starting price, and they should quote you the inches. I started $800 for 4 inches of hair. Any amount over those inches is going to be XY, amount of dollars. So, red flag. They're quick to quote, and they don't even know nothing about your hair in particular. Now, some people may not agree with this, but I don't agree with having more than one person do the install for your hair. Some people work that way, okay? Some people have it where they have one loctician on the front and one in the back. Let me tell you this, you're running a risk. You are running a risk. I have actually talked to someone where they had to get their entire install redone because the consultant was working up here, okay? And the trainee was working in the back, and guess what? The work didn't match up, okay? The locks were not consistent. You can't have someone who is very skilled doing half your head and then someone with half the skill doing the other half, because it's not going to be consistent. That's not how this works. Now, I understand that some people get their install and they have 2 people do it and it turns out fine, but just know that you're running a risk, okay? So this is information you need to be asking up front. Well, do you do the install yourself by yourself? Or do you enlist the help of another consultant or a trainee to do the work with you? That is important to know. Now, one thing that is not necessarily a red flag is if they are not on the Sisterlocks website. People, that website is not the end all be all. I'm telling you that right now. When you really start to research and look at people's YouTube videos about their personal experiences, how many of those people have been messed up from people on that website? I started my loctician search with the website. First of all, I quickly found out that so much information on there is out of date. You're calling numbers, you're texting, you're looking at websites, and this stuff is just not up to date. First of all, the website looks just very outdated, okay? It looks like something from literally like a website from the 1990s, early 2000s. Now, okay, moving on from that is just know that Sisterlocks is a brand. So much of this is based on branding, okay? So much of the rules are just based on the branding aspect. Now, if that consultant is saying that they're a consultant and they're not on the site, yes, you may run the risk of being with someone that is not a consultant per se. Now, how do you go around that? People, there is nothing like actually speaking with someone who is a client of that person, looking at their locks, word of mouth. I've sent quite a bit of business to my consultant. The person that I watched Tanisha Ali's videos, okay? I went with her consultant. She's been with this lady for 10 years. That says a lot. That is much more of a reference to me than a blanket website. I don't, like, really, just because they're on the website, that's not the end all be all. So just know, because they're not on the website, it's not necessarily a red flag. It could be, but it just, sometimes if they're not on there, it just means you need to do a little bit more research and a little bit more digging, okay? Really figure out what this consultant skill level is, really look at their work, really talk to people who have been with them for some time to figure out if they are going to be capable of doing your install. Working with the trainee, that is going to come with some risk. And if you are on a very limited budget, then it's understandable, okay? My advice would just to be, just make sure you ask the right questions, okay? How many installs have you done? You don't want to be the first, second, third, or fourth person that they have done, and and you're expecting to just walk out with these flat locks. You have to do a certain amount of installs to become a certified consultant for a reason. You're going to mess up. Okay, your work is not going to be perfect within the first few heads that you're doing. That's why they have them practicing on live heads, okay, to get the training, to get the experience. Now, not saying if you go to trainee that you're gonna get a bad, no, but they are gonna be slower, okay? The work could be good. There are some trainees that are doing better locks than consultants. That is just a fact. But you're just going to have to do a little bit more research so that you are confident in your decision if you do decide to go with a trainee. And the same could be said about a Sisterlocks consultant. There are some ambassadors, like they're above the consultant level, that have jacked some people's hair up, okay? I'm not going to name any names, but it happens. You need to be researching that person, okay, outside of, oh, they're on the website. That is not the end all be all, okay? Now, the next red flag is really going to be the most important. Any bad vibes. Women, trust your intuition. You have the best intuition. Learn how to trust it, okay? If you're getting bad vibes in a consultation, why would you move forward with actually letting this person do something sacred like install your locks? Like, why? That was the biggest thing for me. On my consultation day, I had the absolute best vibes with my consultant. First of all, she's not the rigid type. I did not want, the way people cancel and fire their clients in the Sisterlocks community is like, I had never even seen or heard of anything like that. You miss 2 reties, they literally will fire you. Like, some people are just that strict, that rigid. That's kind of, I don't need that kind of anxiety. I really don't. If I'm 10 minutes late for an appointment, I don't want to feel the anxiety of, oh my God, I have 5 more minutes to get there, and if I'm not there, I have to reschedule my appointment for next month. Like, no. The vibe was amazing, okay, with my consultant. She answered all of my questions. She let me know upfront what she covers and what is not covered. She personally does not give you a kit, okay? She personally is not on that Sisterlocks website any longer, because you know the only reason they're on there is because they're paying a fee every month. You can be on the website for 10 years. The minute you stop paying the fee is when your name is taken off. It's the branding, okay? Does that mean that that consultant's work is any, less valuable? No. This is what I'm saying. You've got to research that consultant through and through. Now, my consultant does not provide you with test logs. I didn't want test logs. I didn't want the test logs because she has been doing these for 11, 12 years, okay? She's been doing Sisterlocks this long. She can look at my hair and go through it and tell me exactly what is going to work for my hair. Now, I didn't want test logs because look at how tight and small these are. I didn't want somebody putting those in and then just having to take them out and causing damage to this area of my hair. This and this are very, very sensitive areas for me and for most people. This is the weakest. These are, around the edges everywhere. It's gonna be very weak points. And I didn't want, 9 blocks put in just to figure. She already knew what kind of, what will work best for my hair type. She's done enough heads to know. She's been doing them long enough to know. So for some people, that's not gonna work for them. That may be a red flag for you. For me, it was not. So this is what I'm saying about it being very individual. Now, you're just gonna have to learn how to trust your gut. If you're asking questions and they're not answering your questions to a point where you feel like the question has been thoroughly and appropriately answered, they're getting snippy in communication, they're lacking communication, you're texting them and they are taking 2 days to respond, stuff like that, like look out, those are red flags. Now, just know that when you contact a consultant on your first communication, you can't come at them with 600 questions about this process. That is what a consultation is for. The consultation is for you to get all of your questions answered in that consultation time. Normally they charge a fee. My consultant did not charge a fee. This is what I'm saying. All consultants, they don't, the Sisterlocks process has started to evolve, even if they don't want to admit that. There are some consultants that use oil, okay? Even though as a whole, Sisterlocks say no oil, okay? Mine uses oil. Okay, if you look on the Sisterlocks website now, they have a whole host of products. And for many, many years, it was like no products, only the shampoo. Now they have all kinds of stuff you can use for the locks. So it's evolving, okay, even if they don't want to admit that it is evolving. So every consultant is not going to be the same. You have some that are pretty much by the book, but they may go in a different direction for 1 or 2 things. You may have some that are just, way less strict and less rigid on the rules. You're going to have to, like I said, really think about what is a red flag to you. What doesn't sit right with your spirit? That's what it's going to boil down to, okay? If you have someone that, if you're a client that just really operates really, really well on very strict, stringent, by the book rules, it's probably going to be better for you to go with a consultant that is just diehard, brand by the book Sisterlocks, okay? Because you're going to have less anxiety in that situation. Me personally, I need someone just a little bit more flexible, okay? That's what worked for me. I have had 0 problems with my locks. My locks are thriving. My locks are beautiful. My locks are healthy. I haven't had any issues with slippage, like no problem locks. I had one, lock or 2 that I combined because I felt like they were too small. But other than that, it's been easy breezy and I'm almost at 2 years, okay? Okay, now the next red flag is going to be the bait and switch. Your consultation day, they give you a price, okay? You come in, a month later and you're ready to do this or place your deposit and they're like measuring your hair again and and saying, oh my gosh, your hair grew, you know, 3 inches over the, I don't know where these extra inches came from. Like little stuff like that, that just is like, okay, I know my hair, sis. My hair didn't grow on 3 inches. Like anything like that, that's a red flag. The price should be the price unless there has been months gone by in between your consult and your actual your install. I understand if the price changes because 3 or 4 months or 6 months, your hair is going to be a different length. They should do a fresh measurement and give you an updated price, okay? Now, a lot of the times when you're at a consultation, go ahead and have your down payment money ready. So there is no confusion about the price, the down payment, and the install date, okay? So if they are giving you a final quote and you're making the down payment, and then later they, you know, right before install, they're going to suggest you cut 2 inches off. Well, it's 2 inches coming off the price. They're charging you per inch. They need to give you per inch. And if they are cutting 3 and 4 inches off, the price should reflect that. If they're not willing to discuss that, to rectify that, that is a red flag. All right, you guys. So that's pretty much the list of red flags. Now, again, this is just going to boil down to trusting your gut. I'm pretty sure most people who had a horrible experience with a consultant had an inkling, okay, about that consultant before they went through with anything. But sometimes we get in this oh, I got a date on the books. I paid my deposit already with this lady. Nothing's set in stone. This is your hair. This is, you know, this is important stuff we're talking about. So if it doesn't feel right, I don't care if it's, you know, you 10 locks in, and get up out the chair and go. If they're hurting your head and they're not listening to the fact that this is painful, like, come on, ease up a little bit. Like little stuff like that, you don't have to go back to that consultant. Find a new one, okay? Start looking for a new one. Just because you've had, you know, your hair installed by this one particular person doesn't mean you have to stay with them. Do what works for you. Do what's going to be best for your lifestyle, and do what just feels right with your soul and your spirit, okay? If this person does not, move on. Find someone else. There are so many great consultants out there, and if you feel like this experience has been less, you know, anything but wonderful, find someone else, because my experience has been absolutely amazing, and I just really want that for everyone else, okay? So let me know in the comment below some of the red flags that you've experienced, just with maybe you went to a consultation and that went horribly. You got to install and you're no longer with that person. Let me know some of the red flags below, okay? Now, if you are not subscribed to the channel, honey, it's free. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and click that subscribe button, hit that bell so that you're notified about any new videos. If you found any value in the content, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, as it does help my channel to grow, and I will catch you guys on the next one.